Well, we're making our way down the Sierra Nevada, heading west, and eventually going to wind up in the Pacific Ocean. We've parked our car a couple of miles away from where we're now sitting and have hiked the Pacific Crest Trail to come here to this spot overlooking Donner Lake. This was the infamous lake where the Donner Party got stranded over the winter. Several of the team left the party in the middle of the winter and headed west towards Sacramento, hoping to mass a rescue party and make their way back here to Donner Lake. Within a few hundred yards of where we're now sitting, that team would have crested this exact area and got their first look down at Donner Lake. They had no idea what they were going to find when they got back there, because it had been an entire winter without food and very little shelter that a group of people had survived, and they were hoping that they had survived the winter here on Donner Lake. So that's where we are. It's not the Sea of Galilee, it's Donner Lake. And from here we thought we would continue our devotional that we wrote now a couple of weeks ago and have continued during our journey here to the west.
So we're in the book of John, and today we're going to read chapter 4, verse 51 through 53 to understand why Jesus felt this man's faith set him apart. As he was going down, his servants met him and told him that his son was recovering. So he asked them the hour when he began to get better, and they said to him, "Yesterday at the 7th hour the fever left him." The father knew that was the hour when Jesus had come to him. "Your son will live." And he himself believed, and all his household.
According to John, the nobleman had just crested the hill and was heading down. Down meaning to the Sea of Galilee. He could have seen the sea from where he had crested the hill, coming from Cana on his way back home. He would have seen the little fishing villages dotting the shoreline and the villages in the fertile valleys below him. Having apparently just crested the last ridge and now heading downhill towards the Sea of Galilee and home, the father sees his servants approaching. Just the sight of them assured him that they are carrying news concerning the fate of his son. But what kind of news do they bring? He had responded by faith, not insisting on any proof in advance. We discovered that faith is believing without seeing, and this man had done that, and he had headed home. He had acted in obedience even before what he had hoped for had materialized. There was no proof whatsoever, no questions answered or asked, no solutions given, simply Jesus telling him that his son would be healed, and he left. And now he sees his servants coming back up the hill, and you can only imagine all the thoughts that are going through his head. Faith is believing without seeing. He had also acted in obedience before what he had hoped for materialized. John says he simply responded to what Jesus said by going home. His faith then was most importantly based upon a single foundation. Faith is based on a promise, and it rests on the one making the promise. You see, we can believe in something without seeing it, and we can move and be obedient to that which we have not yet had materialized in our life. But the promise is what the faith is based on, and the reality is that we have to consider who it is that we are trusting, and who is making the promise to us. For a promise is only as good as the one making the promise to us, and the one making the promise to us is only as good as having the actual ability and power and wisdom to keep the promise to us. And that's what he was banking on, that Jesus was who he said he was, and that he would be who Jesus was enough to keep the promise that only Jesus could make. What would be the words he would hear from his servants? We'll talk about tomorrow. Hope you have a great day. We're having a good time. We're going to be heading west again this afternoon, and probably the next time we see you, we'll have the Pacific Ocean behind us.
Bye.
Bye.